Hello. Um, Hi. You see a black screen? I'm still trying to get my programs to work. So we're gonna see if we can even play the game. Because I only have one downloaded. Um, if you cannot tell, I'm a wee bit sick today. I'm not sick. I'm just really stuffed up. Oh, it's loaded on my side. Get this in here. We are playing this random visual novel I found called It's Zoro's Birthday because I've been hyperfixated very heavily. Like a huge hyperfixation on One Piece right now. So we're not playing Minecraft, we're playing this. Do I know what it's about? No. The pictures on can I show you? Do I still have it open? I don't. I'm gonna show you anyways. I found it on itch.io. It was a pretty chill. I think there's gonna be some sush some sus stuff. But that's okay. Can I change this for no cap? Chrome. It looks like this. It doesn't look too bad. But I haven't played it yet. Usually I'll play games like this beforehand, and I didn't. Also, can you hear the music? I know there's music. Let's turn that all the way up. Blah, blah, blah. There we go. You can't hear it. That's okay. Um, I'll get some music on then because I didn't know this one did have music. I know the last one. Hey, don't look at my Google history. That's not very nice of you. Oh, how do I? No, stop it. Close. Close. There we go. Why isn't this opening again? It's because I closed it. Doesn't mean. Okay. I'm frustrated. That's okay. Where is my copyright for me? Are my headphones on? Is that the thing? That's not what I wanted. Let me get to my streaming playlist. We're listening to the flow of time. That's what I want to listen to. Also, this stream's gonna be short. I gotta go to school in like 15 minutes. I'll probably leave in like 30. Can you hear the music now? Perfect! I have no idea. I don't think there's... I don't know. There's no one in chat, so... Is there anyone in chat? I don't know. No one's put anything in chat. That's better. Return. So we're playing this. It's by Dark Chibi Studio. Oh, Dark Chibi Shadow. What? Why is everything opening? We're gonna start. Well, I'm getting frustrated. Page 1. Load. Oh. I know they're a comic artist. But I wonder if it's gonna be like a comic. Because I know the last one was. This is a series, by the way. Why doesn't he have clothes on? You can see his leg peeking out. Red Noah Zoro. There's the music. I found it. Current bounty. I don't know how much that is, but that's a lot. I don't know that the... How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 7. 7... A lot. That's like a billion. Not only a famous ex-pirate hunter, but also an up-and-coming master of swordsmanship. And sleeping in. And drinking too much and being lazy and getting lost. Truly a force to be reckoned with. Yep, that sounds about right. Today is his birthday, November 11th. Happy birthday, Zoro. Or would be if he'd ever wake up. There we go. Good morning, sleepy mouse. Okay. What? Sleeping mouse. He went back to sleep. Wake up, Zoro. Wake up. All of your Nakama. Nearly one... What? I'm sorry, that was just weird. Wake up, my sleeping mash. It's time to get up. That reminds me of like the one creepy old man from I forget. Where's that shithead? Yeah, that sounds about right. How long is he gonna make us wait anyways? This is so typical of him. Even on his birthday, he's nothing but trouble. Eager to see him, Mr. Chef? Okay, I have a feeling this is gonna be more romantic than I suspected. Aiko rubbing the all-knowing. What? Yep. I have a feeling. Whatever do you mean, my beautiful swan? Well, considering what I heard last night, do I want to finish this? Uh-oh, Sanji. Literally rubbing the... Shh! You hear him coming. Ooh! So excited that I have goosebumps. Oh, wait. I don't have skin. Skilly joke! I love Brooke. Brooke is my favorite. Shut up! And suddenly... Surprise! Zoro is my favorite. I love Zoro. He's my favorite character. Zoro and Brooke. What? You still seem a little asleep, Zoro, even after everyone jumped out. All of your Nakama are here too to celebrate your birthday. Hurry! That's not all. Okay, hold on. Hold on, I forgot what that means. Oh, you're people close to you in a group. That's what that means. Sorry, I forgot. That's okay, though. There's so many presents here for you, Zoro. I have to turn down this music. I already don't want to get up, go to school, and then go to work. This music is already getting me. This could be long. Luffy! Zoro! Happy birthday! It's your birthday! I don't know. I can't do their voices. I'm gonna have to learn how to do their voices if we're doing the rest of them in the series. You didn't forget, right? Did you actually forget, Zoro? Not all the time we get to celebrate a birthday so peaceful, so Sanji decided I didn't decide anything! This was everyone else's idea. I had nothing to do with it. What a bad liar. Yeah, he is a bad liar. For such strong people, they suck at lying. Except, like... Yeah. Except Usopp. Usopp's an amazing liar. It's even cake, Sanji. How do you explain that? I just did what I was asked. Sure, like I care. Jeez! Jeez, this is gonna be Nami's voice now. Because, like, why not? Jeez, I'm gonna start getting assigned ones, and I'll just have to remember them for next time. Jeez, turn it off for a day, will ya? You're ugly when you fight. Yes, no. Yes, Nami Swan. Anything for you, my queen. Okay, I'm not doing voices. I'll do Nami's voice and that's it. I don't care who's planned it. It's time for a party. Oh! I wanted Zoro to open presents first. Yeah, let's open presents first. Okay, I have to take these off, and I can try and do... I voice acted for a bit, so I can try and do my deep voice. Sure, okay. I can't do it anymore. It's gonna be horrible. You guys are gonna hate it. It's gonna be great. Don't sound too excited, Zoro. Okay then, Chappa, since you existed, so why don't you go first? Not like I want to or anything, asshole. I love Chopper. All of them are my favorite. Every single one of them. I get so sad when someone dies. Like, I literally cry. First up, Chappa. Pounderful? What is it? It's protein powder. You put it in with your drinks or food. It's an easy way to get extra protein. I thought you could use it since, you know, you're always trying to build more muscle. So make it go way faster. Oh, so it's to help me work out then? Yep. How useful. Thank you, Chopper. I hate it. I can't. I'm going to. It's not like I wanted you to like it or anything, asshole. That was the wrong person. I can't. This is why I don't read most of my visual novels. Ah, it looks like he liked it, Chopper. Good job. I like that there's a narrator. That's fun. Good job. One present down. Now on to the next one. Next up is Robin. Kama Sutra. I'm confused again. What am I supposed to do with a book? Read it? No, I'm supposed to read it. Look like this. Oh. Thought you missed. Another thing I'm gonna have to Google because it's going straight over my head. What is Kama Sutra? Sorry, my mom texted me. I'm responding to my mom. Then I'll Google what it is, because I don't know. I don't know what it is. Kama, K-M-A-M. Oh, it's a real book. Meaning Kama Sutra. Oh. I think I was right, but it's gonna be a lot more romantic than I thought that I wanted to be. You give me a second, I'll be right back. I just have to go do something. Sorry, think real quick. Sorry, I needed to go to the bathroom. I have to remember really, really hard not to, like, sometimes, usually I just have my little mic. And my little mic is just, you know, it's just something. It's a sock, an elastic band. And I have I'm gross. It's just like a sock with some elastics, like holding it onto a headphone stand. I fucking. I'm gonna have to change before I go to school. That's everywhere. Anyways, it's headphone. It's not a headphone. It's on a headphone stand. Like, that's connected to my plug-in headphones. Because I need to get an extender still. And it's got like a sock. And it's just strapped on. That's my normal microphone, but sometimes I have a clip-on headphone. Not headphone. Microphone. I gotta remember if I randomly decide I'm going to the bathroom for like 2 seconds just to reset. Because sometimes I'm just like, hold on. I need to pause for a second because I also need to pee. It's just a good mix. I need to remember to take it off. So I've decided while I'm streaming, I'm just using this one. So if it's poor quality compared to like videos and stuff, I apologize. But that's not a me problem. That's you. That actually is a me problem. Well, thanks, I guess. Did we? Yeah, it was the weird sex book. Shoot! Looks like the what was a miss, Robin. Better luck's next year. You know, Aaron, didn't need to do this. We wanted to. Yeah, we wanted to. Whatever floats your boat. Don't act like you're not having fun, Zoro. Frankie! Oh, I love him too. He's great. Hey, I know what this is. Screw you! Ha ha ha. Yoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! I don't know how to do their laugh, so we're gonna use Brooke's laugh. I can't really even do Brooke's laugh. I just know it sounds funny, and I like that. I feel like the music is too loud and I'm not yelling enough, so we're turning it down a little bit. Is that too much? I don't know. It looks like it's a compass. Oh wait, what did it say? It's a... I don't know what it said. It's a compass! I know what it is. I made it myself. Explains the ugly color. If I played this on stream like a month ago, I'm glad I didn't. Because I was too busy watching One Piece. But if I did, I would have stopped by now. I just turned 18, man. I don't want to see any of this shit yet. What would... Robin, stop it. Oh my god. They're not even... I love it. It's like a very well put together visual novel. I love the music and everything. And I'm glad they're being so upfront about it, because usually I'm fucking stupid and I'll miss it. I'm still gonna play the rest of the series, though. There's like 2 more. Hee. At least we can hope this direction improves. It's not going to. Next up is Nami. The bill. What? This is a bill. What exactly are you trying to pull? Oh, I just thought, you know. What did you think? It's a special day, your birthday and all. Maybe you could finally pay that debt of yours. After all, birthdays are always a source of a little extra cash, so please, the bank, Nami. I won't, asshole. Shut your mouth, you mossy idiot. What did you say, Swirly? Just because it's your birthday doesn't mean I won't kick your ass. I like to see you try. Can you please stop? I love Usopp in the background, like, no, don't do that. Whatever. Teesh. There we go. No one escapes Nami's. Not even on their birthday. I guess I'll go next then. Next up is Usopp. Lucky you, getting a gift from Legendary. Sorry, I keep forgetting to read it because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Because I keep getting like a little confused. It's one of the 7 ancient mysterious clocks weaved by the gods themselves to find itself. Legendary spiders, huge spiders against the sunny. So it's a spider rag? No, it's obviously a backup bandana. Gives you extra strength, ability, and charisma. That sounds fake. Okay. Ha ha ha. Thanks, Usopp. Anytime. I still love Usopp. I can't tell. Brooke! Yo-ho-ho! My favorite! Is that a coffin? Yo-ho! Your old set of cleaning supplies seem to be lacking, so I thought a replacement would be handy. Oh hey, this is useful. Thanks, Brooke. Ah! But of course! As a fellow swordsman, I need to know the importance of such thing. And of course, I thought about buying you another gift, but what? But panties for you would have been more of a gift left for Sanji's birthday. Brooke, what the fuck did you just say? Yo-ho-ho! Yo-ho-ho-ho! Yo-ho-ho! Betty's joke! I love Brooke. Oh, I can wear underwear anyways. What? Who will buy this man some underwear? Please. That is... That's normal in Canada. Please stop talking about Tarzan. Luffy! Bone. Oh my god. Sorry, I was just like, what? I got confused. Next up is Sanji. Why are you looking at me? I didn't give you anything, huh? Really? Why would I get it? My money is better spent on ladies. Whatever. Fuck you, asshole! I only made it because people kept pestering me. Bullshit! But it's green, Sanji, and matcha flavor icing too. And sweet and a little spicy, just how Zoro likes it. And of course, a loving message. Care to explain? Sound like you're sentimental. Shut up. Oops. Sorry. Oh my god. I love this. I'm sorry. No. Ah. Oh, sorry. I have to move my thing over so I can see. I also do not have my glasses on. Don't tell people that. Not in the slightest. I skipped some words or some sentences, didn't I? Don't bake a cake, that idiot. Ha ha ha. Aha, I'm glad you two are the same as ever. Let's eat. Wahoo! Time to eat! What a lovely family Zoro has been blessed with. After all the battles, all the trials, the Straw Hats are always able to come together. I know Zoro's feeling very lucky right now, especially with all the booze he's getting to drink. I have to hurry up. I gotta go to school soon. Him and Nami are in a drinking contest. Ah, be careful, Luffy. Don't break anything, you monkey. What a party. So much food, so much drink, so much joy. How well organized, too. It's hard to believe Sanji didn't plan all of this, but he used to believe he's a fucking liar. He's a fucking liar. Oh my god. Him and Usopp, they're the best at lying. He's a fucking liar. Yeah. Okay. I know there's more. Ah, it's night already. Good night, Chopper. It's your bedtime. Oh, and good night, Robin and Frankie. I wonder where they're going. Looks like Brook, Usopp, and Nami all left too. And Luffy got chewed out. So now, it's just the boys. It's a shame all the booze is gone. Whatever, it's not like you need it anymore. You basically drank us out of all of our stores. What? It wasn't just me. Nami drank a lot too. Don't bring my lovely Nami Swan into this. She's some brute who drinks 3 barrels of booze. Then why is it all out, huh? If not to drink, huh? None of your business. I must have just forgotten to clean up. How unlike you to put something away. Your stupidness must be rubbing off on me. Come on! Oh, stop it, will you? My voice has been dying the last couple days. Okay. Stop it, will you? I don't know what you're talking about. I think he does. He's a fucking lawyer. Sorry. I found that so funny. It's so stupid. Hey! It was a good party. It was. Thank you, idiot Curl. Hey, don't thank me and insult me in all one go. Oh, so it was you who planned this then? You're disgusting. shut up. That's you. Me? Then care to explain why I woke up with your tie around my neck this morning? You're playing dirty. Go to bed or something. Huh? But don't you still have a gift for me? Why would you think that? Because you're a terrible liar. Because he is a fucking liar. Huh? My sleeve is still wet from the snot. From me sneezing. Huh? Who dimmed the lights? I was enjoying that. Alright, fine. You caught me. I always do. He's a fucking liar. It's actually like a pretty sweet looking bottle. Shut up. What kind is this? It's a Pinot Noir, about 10 years old. Oh wow. It should be good then. Of course it's gonna be good. I picked it out. Doubtful. Sit down and I'll pour you some. Oh, you said I shouldn't have any more booze tonight. Da 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 da. Then we'll save it. Save it, huh? Planning date later or something? Ah, I kicked him. Haha. So what if I just don't arrive on an island soon enough? I love you too. We'll go. Granted, I love you. I'm Zoro. I'm the same. In the same way, this is such a cute game. This is definitely not a ship I would have sailed. Or first thought of. At all. It's cute. It's super cute. Actually, I quite like this. Like the visual novel. Thanks, Swirly. I'm glad we got to have a party. Me too. It was good to have some downtime. I'm glad everyone is safe on the ship tonight. Yeah. It's great being with everyone and being here with you. Stupid. No. Get it off. No. 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 I don't want to see that. Okay. It's not because it's gay. I don't want to see anyone kissing. So what? Okay, we got it. I'm waiting till my little side part. Okay, there we go. I was like, I'm closing my eyes until it's gone. I don't want to see anyone kissing. Like, I'll kiss people, but not in front of others. Like, I'll kiss my partner, I love them. I don't want to watch people kiss. Ugh. I had enough going in the bathroom and seeing people make it in there. It was gross. Eat it. So what? It's not saying no then, which is fine. I never said I didn't want to go. Doesn't Sanji always want to go, though? A bit romantic than that. Then we have our stupid date. It's not stupid. Let's just have fun tonight. Nice. I mean, Zoro and Sanji did end the night together. Tangled lover, battery mess. It's such a cute visual novel, but it's also crashing my bitrate right now. Do I have to close stuff? Hold on. Telling me how to fix it, but I really don't know how to. I don't know. It's a cute game. I actually really like this one. Adventures of new technique will be stronger. Will we get another Nakamo? My new things to look forward to, Zoro. But for now, rest well, you bossy idiot. Okay. This is my honest review. I fucking love it. I actually really like the comics from the creator. So that's Dark Chibi Shadow, which is this Person at the top. This is the soundtrack. This is actually one of their first visual novels they make, I believe. One of the first ones. It's a really good. I actually really liked. Okay, I need to stop saying like. I enjoyed the visual novel a lot. It's not what I expected. I did not expect the romance. Will I be playing the rest of them? Yes. Am I good? Are they good at kissing them? Probably. Am I gonna be like? Ugh. Yeah. Why? I don't want to see people make out in real life at all. I don't care who the fuck you are. I don't care if you're gay, straight. I don't want to see you make out. Nasty. So no. I'm trying to end this quickly, so I'm talking really fast, or I feel like I'm talking really fast. Other than that, it's great. I love it. I like the music too. The music and like the style, it's really cute. This is the end of it. Bye. That way. Ba ba ba. You fucking big fucking idiot. Love you, DKS. Okay. This is such a cute game. I genuinely enjoyed it. It's such a like an interesting concept too, because I know they're usually do I follow them on Tumblr. They do Euro visual novels, not visual novels, comics. Hence the end and the book I already forget the name of that I didn't know what it was before. I usually am not into that shit. Well, I gotta see if this is running. I'm gonna put on something for you in the background because I'm just talking right now and I feel like that's me being super annoying. Do I have anything else to say? Oh yeah, it's been a while since I've streamed. It's been like months. Since August. It's almost November. I graduated. I'm still doing one class in school. I didn't finish my apprenticeship yet. I'm working on that. I'm quitting. There we go. Close this. Open this. Because my stream buffer is killing my computer for some reason. Gonna switch. No, it's not. We're gonna have to do this manually. My phone keeps going off. And I need it to stop because it's so distracting. I'm having to get another part-time job. So happy about that. I definitely like having work and school and my apprenticeship all at once. I'm a tattoo apprentice, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that before because I got right around the time I took this like impromptu break around the middle of August is when I got my apprenticeship. So I don't know if you guys knew that, but I do tattoos now. I've tattooed real people. Which seems like a short period of time, because it is, because they're trying to rush it, because our shop is basically losing all their artists, and they need another one, and no one wants to work there. Which seems like a big red flag to me. But to be honest, whatever. Oh yeah. That's why I haven't been streaming. I want to do some more videos and stuff. I'm planning to do some more One Piece fan games because I've been super obsessed over it recently. It's also like the nostalgic of it. And by nostalgia, I mean I finished the series like 3 years ago and I want to watch it all again because I kind of forgot. This is a lot. I'm back on episode like 300 now. Because I haven't had time to watch it because I've had fucking school and work and I'm pissed off and it's unpaid and I'm kind of running out of my funds right now. But my other part-time job kind of ate shit and I refuse to work there. But I have to find another one. Which means I get to be super stressed out. So. Yay. This is one of the games that is that's going to be in my One Piece fan games. That's the furthest I made it. Like, the furthest ever I've made it. Damn. Usually I get frustrated and rage quit for Flappy Bird, which I'm doing. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. So I'm trying to make more videos and stuff. It's just gonna take forever because I have literally no time. I did have a Minecraft video coming out, but as shit goes, it's not, because my file's fucking corrupted. Because we just love replay mods so much. Because it just decided not to work. So yeah. That is, that's today's stream. I know it's not long, it's 35 minutes. But also, I gotta go to school. And then work. And then probably cry about it. So, peace out. Love you guys. Me Tawa. Bye.